Welcome to Daily Practice with Nikhil. And in this series, we are going to be looking at topics that are science or spirituality. So the question is it science or is it spirituality? Each episode, I'm going to give one statement, just one clear, powerful idea, and I want you to guess, is it science or is this spiritual? And they're going to be a deep dive into where the idea comes from and what it actually means, and most importantly, how you can use it in your life starting today. So, are you ready for today's statement? Today's statement is this: breath control can change your emotional state. Now, take a moment. What's your gut reaction? Does this sound like something spiritual or something scientific? Science or spirituality? Breath control can change your emotional state. And before we get to an answer to whether this statement, breath control can change your emotional state, is science or spirituality, let me tell you when I first really understood what this meant. So I was sitting in my car in a parking lot, about to go into a really difficult interview, conversation. My heart was pounding, my hands were sweaty, and my mind was racing with all the ways in which I could be wrong. And I remembered at that moment, I learned a few years ago that this simple breathing pattern, 4 seconds in, 4 second hold, 4 seconds out, and 4 seconds hold, also known as 4-4-4-4 breathing technique. And I tried it for maybe 2 minutes, maybe 3 times, and actually watched my entire being or nervous system calm down. My heart rate slowed, my hands steadied, my thoughts cleared, and it was like I found a remote control for my own anxiety. And I thought, how is this possible? Suddenly, I can feel calm. How can I create a practice that is so simple as changing how I breathe, completely change how I feel? So you may come up with your own answer, but before we find an answer to whether this is complete spirituality or complete science, it is important to dive deep into both aspects. So let's go deeper into both perspectives, because understanding how they connect makes this so much more powerful. So the spiritual perspective, let's look at the spiritual perspective. When ancient yogis talked about breath, they weren't being metaphorical. They observed that through their hours and hours of practice and self observation, that breath and mind move together. When you're anxious, your breath is fast and shallow. When you are calm, your breath is slow and deep. When you're angry, it's sharp and intense. And here's the key inside the head: this isn't just a one way street. Your emotional state does not just affect your breathing affects your emotional state. This was revolutionary. It meant you weren't helpless. You had a tool always available to shift how you felt. They thought things like prana, life force, flows through specific channels in the body. Modern people sometimes roll their eyes at this, but they're observing energy, vitality, the capacity to act and feel alive. That's real. And they noticed that the breath was primary way to work with this energy, whatever you want to call it. Different breathing patterns created different states. Fast breathing was energizing but could create agitation. Slow breathing was calming. Balanced breathing, equal inhale and exhale, created equilibrium. They were not guesswork. They were testing this on themselves every single day for lifetimes. Where the ultimate goal was not just to feel better in the moment, it was to realize that you are not your emotions, you are not your thoughts, you are the awareness that can observe and shift them. And breath was the entry point to that realization. So let's look at the scientific perspective. Now let's look at what science has discovered about what this is and how breath actually changes our emotions. And what is fascinating is that your nervous system has two main modes. One is called the sympathetic, that's the flight or fight, as you might have heard many times. It's a stress response. And parasympathetic, that's rest and digest, calm state. These are not conscious choices. They are autonomic or automatic, or at least we thought they were automatic. Turns out there's one exception. One autonomic function you can consciously control: your breath. And through your breath, you can actually influence which nervous system mode you're in. Here's how. When you breathe slowly, around 5 to 6 breaths per minute, you stimulate what is known as the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is like your superhighway of information, and about 80% of its fibers, the nerve fibers, run from your body to your brain and not the other way around. So when you breathe slowly and deeply, you're literally sending a message from your body to your brain: you're safe, we can relax. So this triggers many psychological changes. Your heart rate variability, which increases. This is a sign of flexible, healthy nervous system. Your amygdala, which is like a brain structure, activity decreases, creating less of a fear response. The cortisol levels drops. Blood pressure normalizes. On the flip side, fast, shallow breathing, especially mouth breathing, activates the sympathetic nervous system, which is the flight or flight response. Your body interprets this as danger. So your body gets the message, or something is wrong, when you do a conscious, shallow breath, preparing to fight or run. There are also chemical changes happening. When you hold your breath or breathe slowly, you're changing the ratio of oxygen to carbon dioxide in your blood, which affects the pH level, which affects how calm or alert you feel. So scientists at Stanford, Harvard, and Yale are now running clinical trials using breathing techniques to treat anxiety, PTSD, depression, even inflammation. And they're finding that the success rates that rival medication with not as many side effects. So here's what blows my mind from these two perspectives. Ancient wisdom, ancient yogis, and modern neuroscientists are describing the same reality, just using different vocabularies. The yogi says prana flows through nadis, and pranayama balances the energy body. The scientist says respiratory patterns affect vagal tone, which modulates autonomic nervous system balance. They are talking about the same thing. Both recognize that the breath is the only bridge between conscious control and automatic processes. Both observe that changing your breath changes your state. Both have mapped specific techniques for specific outcomes. The difference is that the yogis discovered this through direct experience. Sitting still, paying attention, testing and refining over generations. And scientists discovered it through measurement, brain imaging, heart monitors, blood tests, and the rest. Neither invalidates the other. In fact, they validate each other. The spiritual tradition says, this is true. We've experienced it. And the science says, yes, and here's the mechanism of why it's true. So for you and me, this is incredibly empowering. You don't have to believe in prana or understand polyvagal theory to benefit. You just have to breathe. All right, enough theory. Let's get practical. I'm going to give you 3 breathing techniques you can start using today. Each one serves a different purpose, and each one has ancient roots and some modern science backing. So practice 1, box breathing. This is for when you are stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed. Maybe you're about to give a presentation. Maybe you just got a little bit of difficult news. Maybe you're lying in bed and your mind won't stop racing. Here's what you do. Breathe in through your nose for 4 counts. 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath for 4 counts. 3, 2, 1. Exhale through your nose for 4 counts. 3, 2, 1. Hold empty for 4 counts. 3, 2, 1. And repeat. Breathe in through your nose for 4 counts. 3, 2, 1. Hold your breath for 4 counts. 3, 2, 1. Exhale through your nose for 4 counts. 3, 2, 1. Hold empty for 4 counts. 3, 2, 1. And you can carry on doing this for 2 to 3 minutes, and that's all. This technique is used by many elite forces, Navy SEALs, before missions, for example. It's also classical pranayama practice. And why does it work? The extended hold and that controlled exhale activates the parasympathetic nervous system. You're literally hacking your stress response. So try it now if you want. 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. Notice how you feel just after 3 rounds. Practice 2. 4, 7, 8 breathing. This one is specifically for sleep and deep relaxation and is developed based on ancient pranayama techniques. So here's the pattern. Breathe in through your nose for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 7 counts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale completely through your mouth for 8 counts. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in through your nose for 4 counts. 3, 2, 1. Hold for 7 counts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale completely through your mouth for 8 counts. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And repeat 4 times. The key here is the really long exhale. 8 counts. At the beginning, it might be fine. It might be challenging. It might be something you might be struggling with. Just go as long as you can. And that itself is a start. That's what signals to your nervous system that it's safe to let go and relax. And it's very simple, very profound, yet nobody does this. People often have shallow out breaths, and which is why that is signaling their body to keep them in a stress response. So we can consciously change our emotional states with breathing. So if you do this lying in bed, you'll often fall asleep before you finish the 4th round. The extended exhale scientifically removes carbon dioxide, which slows your heart rate and actually calms your nervous system. In terms of spiritual perspective, long exhales move stale energy out and create space for rest and recuperation. Practice 3. The physiological sigh. This is the fastest way that we know of to reduce stress in the moment. Dr. Andrew Huberman's lab found this is the most effective breathing pattern for rapid stress reduction. But here's the funny thing. It's something your body already does naturally when you're crying or deeply relieved. You've done this your whole life without you even realizing it. But when we do it consciously, we can actively change our emotional state. So here's how. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Without exhaling, take a second sharp inhale through your nose. Then slowly exhale completely through your mouth. So the double inhale fully inflates your lungs, including the little air sacs that sometimes collapse when we are stressed. That long exhale dump gets rid of the carbon dioxide and activates calm. So you can do this once, or you can do it 3 times in a row. It works in about 30 seconds. So if you're feeling stressed, take a deep breath in through your nose and take another deep breath through your nose. Even just doing it 3 times, I can literally feel sensations which I have not felt in a while. Very strange. You can do this 3 to 5 times in about 30 seconds, just before you have a difficult conversation, when you're stuck in traffic, anytime you notice your shoulders are above your ears. And here's my recommendation. Don't try to do all 3 perfectly starting tomorrow. Pick one. Maybe box breathing calls to you. Practice it twice a day for a week. Once in the morning to learn it, and once when you feel like you need to use it. Notice what happens. Does your body respond? Does your mind quiet a little bit? Pay attention without judging. This isn't about being perfect. It's about discovering that what works for you and your nervous system. Keep a simple note in your phone. Just track, felt anxious, did box breathing, noticed something. That's it. And you are starting to gather your own data. So, some common pitfalls we have to address. A few things people mess up when they start. First, they force it. Your breathing should never feel strained or uncomfortable. It's 4 counts. Feels too long, make it 3. The goal is calm and not perfection. Second, they only remember to do it when they are completely falling apart. That's like only going to the gym when you're ready, out of the shape. Practice when you're calm. So the pattern is available when you're not. Third, they expect it to fix everything instantly. Sometimes it does. Sometimes that first physiological sigh drops your stress by 50%. But usually it's more subtle. You're training your nervous system. Give it time. Finally, they think it's weird or woo woo, so they don't tell anyone and they just don't stop. They don't start doing it. Look, breathing techniques are used by Olympic athletes, military people, business people, therapists, counselors, doctors. There is nothing weird about it. It's just biology. So here's what we've discussed today and the answer to the question: can breath control change your emotional state? Is it a spiritual thing or is it science? And the answer is it's both. Both ancient spiritual wisdom and cutting edge neuroscience have confirmed this. So, whether you want to call it pranayama or vagal stimulation, whether you're working with prana or the polyvagal system, you're using the same tool that's been available to us for almost our entire history. Your breath is always with you. It's free, it's private, it requires no equipment, and it works. Here's your challenge for this week. Pick one of these 3 techniques. Set a reminder on your phone. Practice it twice a day, either 4-4-4, 4-4-7-8, or physiological sigh. And notice, not judge, just notice what changes. And in the next episode, we are going to explore another statement that challenges the line between science and spirituality. And until then, breathe well. And remember, every wisdom tradition and every scientific field that's ever looked closely at the breath has come to the same conclusion. This matters. Your breath is your superpower. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you again next time. This has been a daily practice with Nikhil. Science or spirituality? Who knows?